Greetings, pirates and privateers. Grim back at you again. Once again, coming from Omicron at Uncle Ten's Scrapyard for episode 4 of our capital ship tutorial build. And starting to look like a ship, I gotta say. We got a nice little front cockpit up here that's going to be for mining. We got a regular bridge towards the back there for normal driving around type stuff. We've got landing gear on it. It's got thrusters front and rear. It can move. It's actually pretty nimble. It surprised me a little bit. But one of the issues that we ran into in the last episode is that I did not have enough material apparently to finish off the drills. So I wasn't able to put those on at the end of the episode. So that's where we're going to start today. This is how big the drills are. So they don't stick out very far, but they are massive pieces actually. I hadn't even thought about that when I was first putting this together. This might be this might be an interesting looker by the time we're done. Might have to rethink the entire drill thing here because wow, that's big. Okay. Now, something that I hadn't checked out before, I need to take a look at these things and see, are they airtight? They are. Now, I wonder... See, I've only ever used the laser drills, but because we're not up to that level yet, I couldn't afford to make them. They would go on all four corners up at the front of the boat here. For the time being, I wonder if we can slap one of these big suckers right underneath the cockpit and use it for the floor. And it might turn out that I didn't need 4 of them after all. Alright. Let's get these blocks back. Kind of funny how the seat just stays there. Alright. And we go back to our big honkin' drill. Doink. Let's see how that looks on the front of our nice boat here. Well, it's big nasty, I'll give you that. I wonder what it looks like when you put it away. Interesting. Let's auto group the devices. Yep. And find it on there. It's not showing as a weapon. Harvest. Industrial drill module. So it doesn't retract into its box. That's just the way that it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to think on that for a little bit. Let's concentrate on the rest of the ship, shall we? For the time being, I'm going to just get rid of that. And pretend that we are... how am I going to do this here? Let's build from the underside of this back, shall we? Yeah, we just went straight up with blocks on the last one as half blocks straight back into the ship. Do the same. Keep it somewhat close to original. And this one was going to be... Isn't that you that I had on there? Yeah, that looks like it fits. because we're going to need to close that up. Let's do it with... It does pose a bit of an issue, doesn't it? About something like that. I'll try that for now. Again, trying to keep it nice and light. Still look chunky though. What about up here on the chin? What about one of these guys? Makes it look like a little bit of a beak. Not sure I like that. But let's continue our design. Go with these same blocks we put on the bottom. The middle, at least. And see how they work. There. There. It could be kind of mean looking. Can I get up there with my jetpack? Yes, I can. Alright. There's our door in. That's got to stay. And what are you? So we're standing on a half block. That's the other part of the top of that block there. Okay. Have to see what we have. Even if there is a half block that has a cut corner, I'm not even sure. Looks like there is. One of you there. And that won't fit the same. There's got to be a... There it is. The other side. Half block in the middle. And we can fix this one from the inside. That's all right. Or... that doesn't need to be a half block. That could just be... that ramp again. There we go. Nice and industrial looking and good enough for right now. Let's take a look at what the deal is with our level here. We've got a long way to go before, I think it was 25 that opens up. So, it will be a mining ship when it's done, but that day won't be today. Right now, it's simply a basic capital ship. I really don't like the way those drills looked. They were awful. So, get a little more oxygen here, and we are going to work on making this thing look a little prettier than just a big old brick. So, considering that, we're going to have 4 big drills, or 4 big mining lasers basically, that come out. Their base is going to take up these 2 blocks. So, for the time being, we'll just evacuate those spaces so we know where it's going to go. And same thing up top there. I'm a little too far away. Alright. Have to get up on top there. Is that too high now? Yep, it is too high. Telling you kids, build in creative mode. You'll love me for it. But we're not doing that today. I am bloody-mindedly sticking with this until it's damn well done. Alright. Open sesame. Up the turbo shaft. Don't sue me, Paramount. And out to the front of the boat. Right. There we go. That's those done. And there's the front of our craft. Now I had this interesting idea of putting some spars coming out from the centers of the four sides here. Top, bottom, and the two sides. That made it look like some sort of a grasping claw, or maybe an anchor for doing a mining job on a big asteroid, so you can kind of ram the front of the ship into it and then start drilling with the lasers. So I'm gonna take a stab at that idea here and see how it ends up looking. So we go with actually, I think we have the right one. Start with you and go and end with it's got to be the other way though. That's what I was hoping for. That just doesn't look quite right. What other types of pieces do we have here? What are you? No. Maybe that could work. So each one has the same slant on the end of it. One at the top would be obviously the other way. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's go back to, we're gonna put 3 more of you in there. One there. I don't know if I can see the top dead center one. There we go. And I just lost connection. That sucks. Alright, we're just working with the steel blocks for now. Those are here. Reconnect first. Okay. Now, because the top wants to be so much of a problem, get it out. Oops. And which one was it? You. So that goes. Is that already different? Slant on this side. Yeah, it is. Yes, because it is the same piece all the way around. Okay. And let's go back to you. Back over here. And back to you. And let's stand back and look at how that looks. Not too shabby. Especially once we put a paint job on those bad boys, they're going to look pretty devastating, I would say. Cool. It means the bulk of the work on the front of the ship is done. Now, I did want to add some flavor down the sides here. And I'm kind of wondering, I know there's some shapes here. The corridor ramp is a good one. It's a half block. And from it in the middle, and then on here and here, we can have sloping ones. So if I went from the nacelle up to the engines there, and took the blocks out, I could make a bit of a depression in the side of the ship, and it wouldn't look so blocky. So, we're going to do that. It's going to take a minute. Ooh. Might not be able to do those ones. How about these ones? That looks to be where our hangar ends. Yep. Funny, in this entire playthrough, I still haven't gone out and gotten myself an advanced multi-tool. It would be zapping each one of these steel blocks in one and making my job a lot easier. You know, glutton for punishment and all that. Here I am doing it the hard way. But this is nothing if not an investigation to see what we're coming up with, right? It's an experiment. It's fun. That's why we play games. I like to think of it as being not unlike those happy little trees that Bob Ross always used to like to talk about. You know, splash a little paint on the canvas and just turn it into a babbling little creek, you know. That was always meant to be there. Just work with it and see what it shows us, right? Since we seem to have a little bit of time here, I'll also relate to you a story that happened to me today. It was a good day. I was getting a lot of recording done, working on a lot of good stuff to share with everybody. And then I went to fire up a program that I use to put my videos together called CapCut, which I'm sure that, you know, at least some of you are, you know, passingly familiar with. And it had auto-updated itself, which I had explicitly told it not to do because I like the old free version that I had. And it had turned itself into the watermarked monstrosity that they're foisting on people nowadays. I was not happy with this, so I reinstalled it. And lo and behold, it did the same thing again immediately. Somehow, CapCut had managed to push something to their app on my system where I had explicitly told it I did not want any pushing done. So CapCut's been uninstalled, and they've earned an enemy. And that's okay. I found something different. I'm going to be using a different piece of software tonight. I'm not going to name it yet because I haven't really played with it enough. I don't know how things are going to turn out. But if they turn out well, this video will have been edited together using it. Yeah, see, that's already looking so much better. Now, for up on the top here, we're going to go for... what's a good one? That one would be good. That could work. Could be a severe angle, or we could pull it all the way out using our ramp A here in its other configuration. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that one. Slap that on. Might be able to do something with the motors up there at the front a little later, but we'll just hold our breath on that for a bit. I want to see how this goes together. We still have a little sliver over there that we need to fill in. If that couldn't be done by same block. Doesn't need to be there at the front. We can leave that one super smooth. So you there, and I think with the right texturing, that will probably work. Sweet. Just walk on over the other side under the ship. So much easier now. And you there. You there. 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 There, and our special little channel block. There we go. There, and oh, don't quite reach to that end. There we go. There. That's a good looking side on a ship. Cool. I want to try and save the top for gun emplacements as well, because we're going to need to arm this thing at least a little bit. So I don't want to mess with the top too much, and the underside we can work on at a later time. No one's really going to be looking at that right off. I know I'm not. So now I believe it's time to work on the nacelles. And in order to do that to the best of our ability, ooh, you know what? I see some thrusters that are on. That's better. We're going to turn on the symmetry plane. Not you. You. Symmetry plane. I I can't see it from here, so we'll have to go back to the front of the ship. And again, symmetry plane, YZ. Boom! Right down the middle. Thank you very much. And we're going to fill in these nacelles a little bit and see if we can make them a little better looking. Just want to verify with the back of them that they're looking the way that I want to. Yeah, that'll be good for a big old pair of boosters later. Now, for the underside here. Yeah, just going to continue with the theme. Where was it? This was the easy way. Alright, that's that one there. And it's been done on the other side. And now from over there, we're going to do a ramp. Straight up to the front. And again with the ramp. There and there to continue the line from the top. And fill these two rows in just with simple blocks. You always want to make sure you've got some armor over your engines. These tend to be some of the first things that the Xerax assholes fire at when they've got something to say to you. So, and you know, steel is cheap. There we go. A couple of big old cans. I have to get up onto the roof to check the top there. I know I wanted to do something with this too. See how that looks. Looks like it's doing a job. I have to build a front onto this to see if I can make it work any better. Actually, I'm going to do this too, just to make sure that I don't forget about it. There. Plug the hole. In we go again. Alright. From the back, straight cube. One in there too. And then if we're following suit, we're going to go with a ramp. Straight up to the front. Fill that with just a cube. How do we want to terminate this? It's a big, bulky, freighter-y type thing. Doesn't need to be pretty, needs to get a job done. there's extra space in there. It looks like this is about where it's going to terminate. That extra space you can use to stick extra generators in. As a matter of fact, the one that we have in the middle of the ship could end up going into a nacelle instead. This isn't the best nacelle I've done, but it is functional. And that was the plan. I wonder if I couldn't do a little bit of texture play out here. I think I can. So we're going to start. I did this with two of the ships that I've done so far, I think. The Broadside and the Jolly Rogering. It's a neat little trick you can play with square pegs and round holes, as it were. And then we do the same diagonal treatment all the way around the outside here that we did the back. Go. And I need corners. I can't even see that corner. It's going to be tough. There we go. For you. For you. One for you. And then just texture the inside of that big chunker. Should be just fine. Alright. Here's our big bad engine nacelle. Now, something else I was thinking about doing. Actually, I should check my... I got one multi-charge left. I might need to make a few more of those. Oh, okay, there's two. Take the big steel blocks, put them there. Might want to chamfer this edge here, all in hopes of making it look a little less rectangle-ish. So let's do that, shall we? Retrieve blocks. Now when I make it a ship shape out of cubes to begin with, it's just to get a rough idea of what it's going to look like. Once I've got that rough idea, it starts to speak to me a little more, and I can play with the shape and bend and fix it a bit. Okay, so because we have that wall going on, make sure we don't totally get everything. Oh no, we could go right to the edge. Okay, let's do that. Because I do that, I end up going over my designs a few times sometimes and just completely deleting pieces of them in order to make it fit a little closer to what the vision was. But it gives me a structure to start with. And makes it possible for me to bang out bigger things. Think of it like a rough draft, I guess. Alright, let's see here. And because we've got symmetry turned on, this next step ought to be pretty easy. And 4, make sure that we're loaded up with all the cubes again. There we go. And we're going to go with a chamfered. There we go. Chamfered edge. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's always the oxygen on this damn planet, I swear to God. As soon as we get off this rock, I'm gonna find a nice temperate, or brooding temperate, or silly temperate, or temperate full of clowns. Something with oxygen on it to build the base on. Alright. Now, where were we? We were doing this. Alright, that's as far as you're going there. You're coming as far back as you will go, which is, of course, right there, not to the end. Because you're cheap. There we go. That's looking a little bit more spaceshipy. Now, I did go and get a few more toys. You know what? We might have to get rid of these end ones. Or, nope. That block. That block right there will work for both sides of the back. Got a few extra little things that I belted out that probably should be on the ship. Oxygen station. Spotlights will be right at the end. Same with the industrial floodlights. We're mostly ventilated, but ventilating others. Well, that's what those are for. Okay. So, out in the wilds. You've seen breakfast try and creep up on me a few times out here. It happens. You gotta keep your wits about you, and you gotta have something to fight back with. So, to that end, I've got these handy-dandy devices that I'm going to stick right in here. That's the one that I'm looking for. Turn it so it's upright and pointing straight out. Boom. So the two sentry guns up front have a 180-degree pan, so they should keep you safe up there. We're going to do the exact same thing near the back of the ship so that your ass is covered in all directions. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, these ones right here, and I'm going to point them backwards. It is a problem when you're dealing with such a little boat as this one, because it is a very small... Ooh. I turned the damn base off by accident. Sorry about that. It's small as boats go. So you don't have a lot of space to put big single block items like this and blend them in very easy. So now I've got to take a look at these guys here and see if I can find a blending block. I believe that one exists. I think they thought of this. But let's see here. So it goes from square to that. So we go into all the square ones. I believe it might be cut corner A. Where is your corner cut, sir? I believe that is the fit we are looking for. And that's going to work up front here too. I think there's another one that does it a little longer, but it's a chunky boat. Chunky is good. There we go. Makes it look like it's got a bit of a front haunch there too. I'm digging that. Sort of reminds me of the sill under the door of a car. Yeah, she's getting purtier and purtier by the minute. I tell you what. Alright, and so up front here, all of this is engine. Everything facing forward. I think we're done with blocks up here. For now, we're done with blocks on both the sides. It's getting closer. Can you feel it? Ooh, you know what we do have? We got one that we can play with. This is a light automatic capital vessel turret that I pulled off of a wreck out in orbit. So, at the very least, let's turn the symmetry plane off. We can take a look at where we can stick this up top side. And see what coverage might be like. Alright, so this is our landing deck. And if we grab number 2 here. Wow. Alright, you're 3x3. You're going to be a little tough to place, aren't you? So, I could kill the slant there and put one each of you on either side of the back. Right like that. Let's just turn you into a GAT first. There we go. See how you look. Covering the flanks. Yeah, that could work. Ooh, and you know what? Where is the corner? There we go. Does that work? Not too shabbily. Okay, yep. And then in there. Ooh. Neat. Might have to go check over there for fallen space rocks later, but yeah, looks like we can mount another weapon over on the other side exactly the same way. Problem though, is how we do that up front. Oop, a little bit of damage. Damn Xerax. It's brand new. Go find somebody else to fucking shoot at. Yeah, up here, I'm thinking we might be able to get away with just one. Again, small capital. And that one is going to be directly in your way if you're piloting. Of course, you could also hang them underneath the boat. Or do one each. Interesting. Let's go make a couple of those guns. What do you say? The ones that I have at the base here are busy with a job of their own, so let's see if I got the stuff for it. Guns. I want guns. I want big guns. Guns for everything. Sentry guns. Light Gatling for hover vessel. Light automatic base turrets. Automatic CV turrets. So, 2 at least. And maybe 3. There we go. looks like that's going to be a minute. Gonna go check on my oxygen. While those are cooking, I'm gonna go take a look and see what space rocks showed up in the neighborhood. If indeed anything did, I have no idea if those things drop anything real. Oh, look, I can go get lunch. Let's see. What are you? Dust ball. Another dust ball. Just in case. I want to be caught off guard by another one of these out of the range of my guns. Well, look at that. I think they did fall from space. Ooh, I see you up there. And you're dead. I'm not going another 100 yards to go and see you. I got enough steaks in the freezer to last me a good long while. I think I'll be alright. Copper one. Yeah. Pretty sure that silicone one wasn't there before. It's kind of neat to know that stuff drops from the sky. Alright, let's get back within range. Look at that bulbous backside. Beautiful, isn't it? What a looker. Alright. Back into F4. And connect to base. What do we got? One so far. That's enough to start playing with. And we need those steel blocks again too. Okay. So, pop this one up on the back on the other side to make sure that everything looks the same. Want to make sure that it's pretty. Alright. Now we do this before, just like that, I think. And it was a GAT turret. And we took out... Ooh, not that. Take your eye out with that thing. Yes, that's much more civilized. Okay. And one. Where is our cut corner? Oh, that's a big one. There. Yeah, that was it. Back to regular cube. Done. Yeah, good looking. Alright. Oh, you guys are already on. It's a good thing I didn't fill up the ammo box because you're gonna shoot right through the deck there, sunshine. Let's not fuck around, okay? Talking about putting one up here, and let's see if it's done cooking yet. Oh, yep, there we go, 2 of them. So, if we put one up here, oh, you know what we can do? Yes, I'd forgotten all about this. Of course, of course, of course. This one be retractable. So we need to cut a 3x3 hole in the front of the boat here. Just make sure they're all steel blocks and not anything super important. There we go. Book. And she fits right in there. Now, we'll be able to assign this to a control later on, where we can flip a switch and it'll disappear into the ship and we can see what we want to see going forward. Just want to see what the view looks like when we're in the driver's seat here. It's not horrible. You can still see where we're going. We can see what we're trying to mine. Another thing, too, with those mining lasers, if we try to sink the front of the ship into an asteroid a little bit to get at some of the deeper reaches, might want to tuck that thing in so it doesn't get in the way. Now, the other one is going to go down on the bottom here. And I'm kind of considering doing the same thing. I'm wondering, would it be better amidships or closer to the front of the back? I'm thinking kind of amidships would work better. We'll have a pretty good view of everything around it, and if you need it to back up the sentry guns, it can be called forth, and we can make it a disappearing cannon. So, let's go do that. Where's a good middle spot? Right there. And symmetry plane in. That's just to show us where the middle of the boat is. We're going to pick a blocker right here. Get out from underneath it. There we go. Should be able to fit in there, but I think the edge of the solar panel is catching us, so we're just going to have to go and pick the ship up a little bit here. Give me some thrust. There we go. That ought to be just about enough. Boom. And you are a retractable light Gatling. Perfect. And now, set it down. That might sink into the ground a little bit, the model, but it'll still work, which is just great. I wish it worked better too, but, you know. Let's turn the symmetry plane off. We don't need that anymore. Alright. Wait until the flames go out. And turn the thrusters off. And let's go see what she looks like. Yeah, just barely clipping in there a little bit. That's fine. Or, you know, holding the front landing gear off the ground. No, it's a good thing I made it retractable. But those landing gear are solid. And the ship thinks it's landed. I'm happy with it. Anyway, that's about all I got for tonight. We're basically finished with the modeling part of the ship. I think it looks pretty good. I think the front end that we did up here is going to look pretty darn nasty once we get the mining lasers incorporated. I think it's going to look like it was intended to do a job and do it well. And I think, as anybody's very first capital ship, this is going to turn out quite well indeed. In the next couple episodes, I'm going to start working on beautification, as it were. We're going to try giving it a paint job. We're going to see how that looks. If I've got the time, I'm going to see if I can jump off of this rock in this save and level up my character by the book, which I had intended all along. I haven't used any cheats on this unless it was to get myself out of a stuck situation, like that tree that was hanging out of the ground there and being a bother. So yeah, hopefully the next time I see you, we'll be ready to just about finish this bitch up. Till then, this is Grim, signing off.